fought the rest, now try the best!
So we're all waiting for the final character, right? We have this poll here where people are talking about, this is 1 hour ago, there's 188 votes. Who do you want to Tekken 8, right? Bob, Marduk, and Miguel. We're all waiting to see what character comes next. And a lot of people are looking around and they're like, oh, it's taking a lot of time for this character to show up, right? And I had a little bit of spare time, and I made basically what I did at first was I looked at how much time was between each individual announcement. So it starts with Eddie, which was teased on January 14th. And then after Eddie was teased on the 14th, they showed his trailer 75 days later on March 29th. They released him 3 days later on April the 1st. Lydia was teased after that 27 days later on April 28th. And you can see just the whole breakdown. 20 days later, we get the trailer. 56 days after Lydia's trailer, we get Heihachi's tease. So I basically just looked at the days and then I calculated it with Google and whatnot. And I made a couple of graphs. Like I have this one, this was the first graph I made. And each dot shows the announcement. You can see how much time is in between. So this is Eddie's teaser, and then this is his gameplay trailer, and then he releases literally next day. Then Lydia again, and then Lydia and Heihachi right there. That's Evo. And then Heihachi release. And then now this is where we're at here. Now this graph is a little bad. I made more just to really try to give like a good, here's another graph that I made. I was trying to find good graphs and I was struggling. Then you have this graph here, which is, so I'll show you the completed graph. 3 days later, 27, 28, 56, 1 day, 64, 8. Now these last dots up here is where you may get confused. Like what are these ones, right? 69 days, 23 days, 57. And what I did was I tried to chart out the entire trajectory of season 1, because we know for season 1 there's 4 characters: Eddie, Lydia, Heihachi, some final character. And I was trying to see how much time was in between each character's trailer, gameplay trailer, and release. And the biggest gap was Eddie. Eddie was first teased on January 14th, and we went 75 days without seeing Eddie again. When we did see him, that was the Tekken Talk, and that was the gameplay trailer. And then he released 3 days later. Now, if you look at Lydia, they showed Lydia here, and then 28 days later, we got the trailer, and then 56 days later, she released. Now, this is the one instance where they put the trailer way over here and not over here. If you look at Heihachi, the trailer and then the game release is like very close to one another. I'll open up this graph because this graph gives more information, and I'll turn off the chat display so you guys can see what I'm seeing, right? Each color line, you can see all the green, Eddie release, Lydia, red, blue, Heihachi, and then these 3 up here, we'll talk about those ones in a second. With Lydia, they showed her trailer super early, and then we have to wait 56 days for her to release. You guys remember how brutal that wait was? And that's because they showed her trailer so soon. With Eddie, they waited 75 days to show his trailer, then released him. So that was the weird thing with Lydia, and that's what this graph showed me. Now, when you move on to talk about Heihachi, oh no, Lydia's here. Lydia is the 1 day later. Heihachi was shown 56 days later, but it's pretty much the same thing. 56 days, 57 days, those 2 events are basically side by side. But Heihachi was shown on Evo here. And then his trailer released 64 days later. So the gap for Heihachi was bigger than Lydia, but Lydia felt more brutal because of they gave us the trailer sooner. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys are keeping up. I made this graph to try to help you guys understand what I was trying to envision for myself, right? But the point is, Heihachi announced 64 days later, the character trailer dropped. And then 8 days later, the character released. What's different about Heihachi versus Lydia and Eddie is when they released Eddie, Lydia was teased in less than a month. When they released Lydia, Heihachi was teased basically the same day. Heihachi was released, and we are over a month with no teaser for the final character. If you look at the past 3 examples, usually the release and the teaser at most 27 days away. Now with Heihachi, they're waiting. What are they waiting for? This is where the top 3 sections come into play. You have the TWT finals on December the 8th. A lot of people believe that's when we'll get the first teaser for the final character. A lot of people believe the final character for season 1 will be shown at the finals. So that would mean that they would have went 69 days without teasing the final character. And as we previously established, the previous longest time was 27 days. That was between Lydia and Eddie. Now, if they do that, the question that I ask you then is, where do they give us the gameplay trailer? Teaser in 69 days, trailer sometime in between here. What happens? Now, this orange line, the reason why I have it the end of season 1, the reason why I have it end of season 1 is because that is the definitive end for season 1. We have another screenshot where the developers, I don't know where this screenshot comes from, but High Buff Gigas is the one who posted it. And this is how it was spread around. And here, right here, DLC characters included in the playable Year 1 pass will be available by December 31st. So that basically says that all of the characters in Season 1 will be playable by December 31st. That's the deadline for Season 1. So if they do the teaser 69 days from Heihachi's release at the TWT Finals, they would then have 23 days to put out the character's trailer, do a Tekken talk for the character, and then release the character. Now, they could do all of that. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying this, if you actually think that they're waiting until the TWT finals to tease the character, then once we get to that, the gameplay trailer is going to come very fast. Tekken talk and all of these things are going to start rapid firing because they only have 23 days to do it. Now, you can also look at this and try to figure out where a balance patch will come into play. I don't know if they will do a balance patch in December at the end of the year. I don't know. What I also will say, so this blue line up here, what I believe will be the start, or at least the announcement of Season 2. Now, we already have the confirmation. A lot of people were cracking jokes about, did we need a confirmation and blah, 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 blah. But I think Gamescom February 27th is the day it happens, and it's this screenshot here that I took from the Bandai Namco website. It basically talks about the European Tekken Cup and how glorious it is. I think it's ongoing right now, right? If you scroll down or if you zoom in, this final sentence at the bottom says, for the first time ever, European Tekken Cup 3 is hosting last chance qualifiers. The final and LCQ will be hosted at Gamescom LAN from the 21st to the 23rd of February. So we confirmed here that Season 1 ends on December. Season 2 will probably start on February 27th because Eddie was January 14th, right? So that's like a month later. So they like to start the new seasons in January, February. So that tracks. But then also you have the ending of a major tournament, which is the European Tekken Cup. You have it being at Gamescom, which is a massive event for all of gaming. If you're going to start Season 2, where else would you start it? It makes sense for it to be there. But then also it's in the perfect time span. So that's why I think this will be the start of Season 2, is because Gamescom, major tournament, and it's the start of the year. So I don't know, I just want to make that because, you know, everyone's waiting for the character, and I thought this would be a good visual graph to show what's happening and how long we're waiting, because sometimes the wait feels longer, because like that wait for Lydia was brutal.